Hello and welcome. Have you ever thought much about accents? No, not those type of accents. The type of accent that someone may have when they speak. Have you ever listened to someone's accent and thought, oh, I love that. I could listen to that for hours. Or have you perhaps found an accent to be a little bit off-putting for whatever reason? Well, a recent article by the BBC caught my eye, and I thought it might be useful to talk a little bit about it. From the beginning of the article, before she started university, Beth Bedell, I think it's Bedell, I hope it's not Bedal, but I'll say it both ways just in case, had never really thought about her black country accent. But when she started attending seminars during her undergraduate course at Durham University in 2022, she began to feel self-conscious and avoided speaking up in front of the other students. Beth from Sandwell in the West Midlands recalls a privately educated student once telling her, "You don't sound like you're from a private school." When she replied telling him she went to a state school, he said, "You must be intimidated by us and how we speak." Which century was this in? Wow, what a charmer. Actually, let's have a listen right now to a black country accent.
And they walked all the way to Dudley to get some work, and when I got there they turned the house pipes on them. That's dreadful.
And when it was about threepence a pint. You'll go get it now. You'll go get water for that now. And what they used to do with the stamps is, no, I'm not pulling no leg. I've seen them go in the stamp, they put out 8p for the stamp, 8p stamp, put it in and worked it slow. And they've had about 3 stamps out of there for 8p.
Now, I don't know about you, but that's a really nice accent to listen to, as far as I'm concerned. The article goes on. More than a third of over 1,000 university students surveyed said they felt self-conscious about their accent, and 47% said they'd had their accent mocked, criticised or commented on in a social setting. Who's doing the criticising? Who's doing the mocking, the commenting? What accents do they have? Why do they think that they have the accent that it's okay to talk to others about, or to point out what they obviously think is an accent that isn't as good as theirs? Isn't that peculiar? And also, in my opinion, quite wrong. Experiences like Beth's are down to a prejudice called accent bias. People draw conclusions about everything based on someone's accent, and they do it really fast, says Dr. Mary Robinson, a research associate in language variation and change at Newcastle University. Isn't that true though? Isn't it fair to say that you, me, others are making assumptions based on accents? And I wonder whether in some situations at least, someone's accent carries more weight in terms of how others may interpret who we are, where we're from, education level. Of the 10 accents studied, so I've skipped a bit in the article as I normally do because I always encourage people to go and look at the original article or read the papers or do more research. But anyway, of the accents studied, you'll get the gist. Glaswegians were perceived as most likely to stand up for someone who was being harassed. That's really interesting. I don't know why Glaswegians over other accents, but it's interesting. Again, assumptions are being made. Let's listen to a Glaswegian accent.
Tell them something.
Hello, my name's Tam. We're standing outside Paradise on a third round of a European Cup tie to qualify for the Champions League with my Polish friend, and I've known him for about half an hour and I feel as if I've known him all my life.
Reading on. People with Scouse accents were seen as most likely to commit crimes. I mean, it's charming, isn't it? Based on an accent. Oh yeah, but it's because, well, really, is looking at an individual and presuming certain things based on an accent a good idea? Is that really a good indicator of the individual's character? I don't think so. Let's listen to a snippet of a Scouse accent.
I just think they want to make us look as bad as possible because we've got the biggest mouths.
Yeah, we've got the biggest voice and we don't let anyone silence
we don't,
us.
and we always fight back.
Yeah, one thing I always say, and I'll never stop saying, is we're Scousers, we look after our own.
We really do. And the thing is, it doesn't matter what colour, creed, and different you're from in Liverpool, you're all looked after. And we do stick together.
Yeah.
Reading on. And people with standard southern British accents were viewed as most likely to report a relative to the police for a minor offence. What is going on with you people with standard southern British English accents? It's like a sort of low-level Midsummer's Murders or something. Anyway, in Britain, the biases people have about certain accents largely come down to class. Dr. Amanda Cole, a lecturer at the University of Essex, says there is a hierarchy of accents in the UK, with accents from industrialised urban areas like Glasgow and Birmingham often seen as low status. Accent prejudice maps onto societal prejudice, she says. Let's listen to a Birmingham accent.
One of my favourite to watch is Coutinho.
Favourites? Did you hear it? Favourites? Not favourites, favourites. Here's another example.
One thing that I remember from the 2018 World Cup was the whole nation, just coming together.
Did you hear that? Nation, nation, not nation, nation.
Dr. Cole says stereotypes often cause people to change their accents. In fact, the lecturer, who is from East London and grew up in Essex, says she herself has changed the way she talks. I've modified my accent down a lot, she says. I've had people call in on radio shows that I've been on saying, if you're going to have someone talking about language, you should have someone who knows how to speak properly. What a cheek. I mean, seriously? It's a different thing if someone cannot structure a sentence properly. If they're using made-up words or incorrect words, then yeah, okay, it doesn't make any sense. If we're trying to understand this subject, we need to hear it from someone who can construct a meaningful description so that we can then take on board what they're attempting to tell us. But an accent? Reading on. Like Beth, Amy Keane from Thurrock, Essex, says she never realised she had a strong accent until she went to university. It often is the case, isn't it, for a lot of us? It's when we move from our local area somewhere else that people say, oh, you've got this accent or that accent, which you never really thought about very often, if at all. People would quote Catherine Tate's schoolgirl character, Lauren Cooper's catchphrase. I almost, when I read that, I feel I've got to say it kind of like Catherine Tate. Am I bothered? Was that good? No, it wasn't. Never mind. To her, which Amy says implies you're not articulate. And Catherine Tate's character is very funny and Catherine Tate's very talented. But yeah, there's something about saying that to someone else, which is, in my opinion, not attempting to praise them. It's trying to demean them somehow. And that sentiment isn't good if you've ever seen it delivered to someone else about someone's accent, or indeed maybe it's happened to you. As a result, Amy says she tried to mask her accent while at university to fit in. I mean, that's just such a shame. It's just sad. Amy says that after she graduated, she was told by a recruitment consultant that she would never be allowed to work with clients because of her common accent. Throughout her career in advertising, her accent would constantly be referenced, with people quoting phrases at her from reality show The Only Way is Essex. Let's listen to a Towie accent, actually with a bit of a spin. It's Chris Pratt, American actor, doing a Towie accent.
I'm full of Brits here, but I'll try it anyways. So it's like, honestly, I saw this guy. Honestly, did Michael cheat on me when he was in a beefer? And I was like, because he was telling me, he's like, I miss you or whatever, and I'm like, you miss me? What am I, your mother?
Gotta say, I think he was pretty good. Here is a quick reaction from Towie people.
I don't sound nothing like that, mate.
Fiona Scott from Radstock near Bath says if she could have changed her Somerset accent when she was younger so that she could get her dream job, than she would have. Oh, I mean, I wonder how many people are out there like that. She says when she was working as a researcher for regional TV news in the mid-90s, she was told by an editor that she couldn't be an on-screen reporter because her accent was unsuitable for TV. The arrogance of some people. How ludicrous, how ridiculous. I know things have improved a little bit, but still.
Did your father make this same cider?
My father did, but actually I learned it off my grandfather. The actual making of the cider is exactly the same now as my grandfather done it. All we do is crush them up, press the apples, the natural juice comes out, and the yeast is in the skin of the apple, so I don't put nothing at all in it. It's the purest drink you'll get.
There are gains in the awareness and understanding of the general public, but on the whole, accent bias is so deeply entrenched that I believe it will continue to be a problem for a long time, Dr. Robinson says. Amy is now helping other people who have experienced the same bias she has. She left a job in advertising to set up a company called Good Shout, which provides public speaking and communication training. Good job, Amy. Most people who sign up to the training have a regional accent and say they've been made to feel paranoid about it by comments in the workplace. The reason I started it is because I have an Essex accent, and I really want other people who don't have the perfect Queen's English voice to know that they can still use their voice and they can speak at conferences, Amy says. Very laudable indeed. I mentioned already standard Southern British English. So let's listen to that, but also pay attention to the person who's speaking, because in explaining the accent, she also adds in, let's say, an American inflection. And what I'd like you to think about is, when you listen to that, does it feel a bit different when you hear the American accent coming in? I'm not saying one is good or bad or better than the other, but does it feel different?
What is quite unique to the standard Southern British accent is that we pronounce this true T sound before a vowel sound within a word. So listen to me say these words here. British, beautiful, water, better. So you can hear it's a really clean, crisp T sound. The T sounds like a T. An American, however, would read these words in quite a different way. For example, British, beautiful, better, water.
And so what do you think? Do you have accents that are your favourites, that you could listen to all day? Do you have accents that you just don't really want to listen to? Do you judge? Have you found yourself judging, thinking, well, what that person is saying, when I actually analysed the words, wasn't that smart, but the way they said it, it kind of made a lot of sense and it had a lot of power. And I wonder if maybe there are a lot of lost innovations out there, or people who have phenomenal ideas about how to solve problems, and we're just not listening to them because we're dismissing them. And maybe, of course, the flip side of that is that we could be listening to some people because they sound like they know what they're talking about, but in actual fact, either they don't at all, or what they're saying is quite basic. So what are your experiences of accents?